Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike, Max, Patrick, Racy. Great to have Brian Lawton in studio with us, and the one and only Sid Hartman. Sidney, how are you today?
Not too good.
Well, we'll move on from there. What do you think of the Vikings going into training camp?
Well, I can't understand all the internet's like pushing them hard. I still think Green Bay is as good as them, or maybe better. Seattle is as good as them. There's some pretty good teams. We'll see how some of those, how the offensive line works out. If the offensive
You've been very concerned about the safety position, though.
And I worry about the safety position. I worry about one of the linebackers. I worry about the fact that they were 29th in the offense last year.
You're not getting much sleep these days, man. Patrick, what do you think?
I think football players can't be stupid enough to sit in a room and listen to Mike Zimmer tell them that nobody's giving them any respect and everybody's picking them to finish in the second half of the NFL when everyone knows it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
There's runaway optimism. Nationally, they're being talked up as a Super Bowl sleeper. And if you players are stupid enough to believe anything that Mike Zimmer's telling you about a lack of respect, you're crazy.
Brian, as a GM, you've been a GM, and they extended Mike Zimmer's contract. What goes into that? A, when do you decide to reward somebody who's under contract? And B, how much of it has to do with sending a message to players when you do something like that?
Well, timing is everything, and obviously it's an unbelievable time for the future of the Vikings right now. Everybody's excited.
And they got a lot of money.
For the new building. They got a lot of money. And the team is progressing nicely along with the new building. It's really worked out pretty well when you think about it, from where they were just 4 or 5 years ago to where they are today is impressive. And I think that dovetails with Mike continuing on. He's done a good job. They're obviously very satisfied. I happen to agree with you. They're talking nationally about these guys. Sleeper Super Bowl pick is a good way to put it, I think.
What do you think they pay him?
I do not know how much they pay him, Sid.
What are they paying in the NHL right now? We know Boudreaux big, but what's the average?
Yeah. The average right now has really gone up quickly because Mike Babcock in Toronto
Changed the game.
He completely changed the game
Like
with
Pat
the
Riley did in
contract.
the NBA. Yeah.
Exactly. So now anybody that's coming up more lately, like a Bruce Boudreaux, has well crested that $2.5 million mark.
I gotta think it's 5 or 6. Don't you?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 5,
Zimmer,
you know?
5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, for Zimmer, for sure.
5 or 6 million a year, I would guess, at least.
Well, here's a good question, though.
They got more money. They could go out and burn $100 million a day, and it wouldn't make any
There's no
difference.
salary cap on coaches, but how do you decide, the value of a coach? I mean, Thibodeau gets more than Zimmer for a team with less expectations. How do you base what a head coach should get when you look at the different, who do you think has the most responsibility and merits the most pay as a head coach? In what league?
I probably would say football, because I think they have more influence on the outcome. But they have a standard where they have a little lower standard. They don't listen. They want it all. The owners want to keep it all. I was thinking about this the other day. Coaches are complaining that they can't practice football anymore. They can't hit. Well, management was willing to sacrifice all of those things, give the players all they wanted in that area to keep more money.
Yep.
All they wanted to do was keep more money. That's my theory.
Is the NFL as a business model? Like you say, you worked in the NHL forever. How do you even begin to describe the NFL as a business?
You really can't now. I mean, it's far surpassing the other sports we have in North America. The only thing that's even remotely close, believe it or not, and hasn't still blown the lights out here, but it is right now as we speak, is soccer. Soccer is coming on fast and furious. Internationally, as far as the revenues that these sports can generate, football and soccer are separating themselves even from baseball and basketball, which is pretty incredible when you think about it.
Hockey is probably the lowest rate.
Hockey is definitely the fourth of our 4 major North Americans, not including soccer in that with our MLS. But hockey is doing better than ever, to be honest with you. The salary cap has worked very well. We have more parity than anybody else. The differentiation between our top and our lower teams in payroll is so tight that you just see anybody capable of beating anybody on any given night.
I have a question for you as a former athlete. Does this nobody giving us any respect angle, does that work? Does that work with players if you hear it, or if you hear it too much, do you laugh?
No, I think it can work with great orators, great communicators of the game, guys that really have the pulse of the room. But I think you have to keep it fresh for athletes in today's world. They're not stupid. You're right. These guys are intelligent. They're on top of what's going on around the leagues. You got to keep it fresh every single day to keep their attention.
Sid?
By salaries?
Yeah.
Oh, but how about basketball? NBA basketball.
It's the best deal in the world if you can be a great player.
The guy here is getting $8 million.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Say, Sid, you took a little lump there. People are going to see that. Explain what happened.
I opened my trunk,
Of your car.
and all of a sudden, I hit it some way. I don't know.
But
how.
you're okay.
I'm not doing things right these days, so.
But you're okay. That's the main thing. I just want to go ahead.
One thing, I want the all-time genius in dealing with that part of the athletes you don't get any respect is the man right there. When I was writing his book in 1997, the secretary at the Star Tribune, Terry Ferris, gave me 500 letters.
I've seen some of these.
And these letters were either, you're the greatest, or you got screwed, or both.
and it might have been an opponent to the Vikings.
Yes.
I say something, dear Gil Brandt, I know you lost the game, but I have to admit, I've never seen the Vikings come together like that. Everything was designed, Gil.
Yes, you were the man. You're a master, Sidney.
And I got to say, on this, I just wanted to clear that up because there were people that thought that you were assaulted.
All I know is we sold a lot of books.
We did sell a lot of books.
And there were some people that thought you were assaulted or accosted, and I wanted to make that clear because the FBI ran on a data bank. Possible suspects would have something against you, and they've got it down to 10,000 people right now. Take a break.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandStevesAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.
I was riding my bike through an intersection when a vehicle struck me, then ended up braking, throwing me onto the road, and then running me over. Being a firefighter, I was concerned about healing and about my injuries and about what impact that might have on my future.
Having Schwebel, Getz, and Sieben taking care of us and taking the worry off of our shoulders really meant the world.
Any of the meetings or conversations were very down to earth. There wasn't a lot of technical lingo, so it was nice to be able to kind of relate.
The amount of communication and keeping in touch with us and letting us know how things were going as they went along, it really meant a lot.
I would absolutely refer Schwebel, Getz, and Sieben to anyone that's had any kind of personal injury accident.
One would hope you would never need a personal injury lawyer. But if you do, I would recommend Schwebel, Getz, and Sieben. I had full trust, and we definitely picked the right people.
Call Schwebel, Getz, and Sieben at 612-377-7777 for a free consultation or visit Schwebel.com.
An odometer under 15,000 miles and an up to 5-year, 75,000-mile warranty makes it elite. The way it does this makes it a BMW. Introducing BMW Certified Pre-Owned Elite.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs, fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second to none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
JD Hoyt Supper Club, stop on by on your way to a ball game or in downtown Minneapolis anytime. Check out the chops, the steaks, the seafood side, Pat and the whole gang there. JD Hoyt's, locally owned, nationally known. Welcome back to the sports show. That's a quick point you made. Todd Leiweke is the #2 guy in the NFL now. He was in town the other day, and he was also part of Tampa after you were at Tampa, correct?
Right. I spoke to Todd right when he was leaving. He was obviously very excited about joining the NFL.
Well, if you're #2 and the #1 guy gets $30 million a year, $40 million a year,
$44 million.
Yeah, you don't need to get all of that to be,
Right. Also, a very good chance he's in waiting too. I believe for the big job. Right.
Never know, right? In the worst case scenario, it's not bad. Yeah.
Todd and
anybody who can take state of hockey and turn it into state of football and have those idiots in Washington believe they're the state of football is a pretty
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I would think he's getting about 3 times as much money with the NFL that he got with Tampa.
Well,
it
was a different deal, but yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Sydney, the Minnesota Twins, they traded Eduardo Nunez, and you were very upset.
Well, I can't understand those trades. I can't understand how you trade your best player who is leading the league in stolen bases and is your best player. You trade him for some young 22-year-old kid who, in the past, a lot of those guys haven't worked out. I don't understand that. I asked Rob that today, but they need pitching. But why do you get rid of your best player? And a guy could help you next year, he signed for next year. I don't know.
Patrick?
You look at the standings, that's how you do it. And this left-hander might turn out. Edward, you got the best you're ever going to get out of Eddie Nunez. And this is the time to move him. He had 2 hits yesterday for the Giants, drove in a couple of runs. He'll be a good player for the Giants, but he's not a... he's not a star. He was a guy somebody wanted. That's why you traded him.
Yeah, when they called, they weren't asking for a lot of these guys.
No. Everybody says, why don't they trade Nolasco? Why don't they trade Suzuki? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants him.
Won a game from yesterday.
Yeah, but what do we care? What do you care if the Twins win a game the rest of the year? Who cares?
Right.
Brian, when did you decide to trade somebody when you thought you were out of a race, or as an agent, when did you want to move somebody?
Yeah, it comes down to where you're at in future planning, Mike, and obviously the Twins aren't where they want to be right now today. They know that they value pitching more than, obviously, what Nunez brought, and I think they're right for that, quite frankly. That's the key to baseball, and without it, you're not going anywhere, and the Twins aren't anywhere near where they want to be in that department, so you take on more risk for more reward.
How many times you get traded?
I got traded 5 times. Many times.
NHL, once you start moving, man,
isn't that something?
You get in that room, it's
I mean, if you think about it, almost everybody in today's world, literally almost everybody gets traded at some point.
How about Brzezinski? He's been with 7 teams.
Yeah, and they took 2 from the Twins this week.
You know what? You look at his durability, but he's dang near a marginal Hall of Famer. As much as he's played, his stats now are up where he's, I don't know, got 1,800 hits or something like that.
Drew Buxton out trying to steal third the other night.
Oh, he's been amazing. The guy caught 11 straight years. He caught 11 or 12 straight years. He caught 1,000 innings. It's remarkable. Last time I talked to him, he had a black and blue, Mark, from his hip to his ankle. He caught that game that day, and of course he was making jokes about Joe Mauer's durability then too.
Durability shit always says, Brian. You get a guy like that, and all of a sudden you wake up and they're 40 and they're still playing. What is that? Obviously, they have all the money they want.
Yeah.
What does it become?
Oh, I think it kind of goes full circle. It comes back to just being fun and a way of life, the way they started off.
Probably as probably as much fun as you can have then,
right?
Huh?
And you see a lot of guys. You have two types of players: players that want to get on and move on with their life and do other things because they have a lot of other interests, or you have guys like Chris Chelios, who used to always say they're going to have to steal my skates from me before I leave. I want to be doing this. He literally would say it when he was in his 20s, till I'm 50.
And he almost did.
And he darn near did.
Yeah.
So,
Sid, do you ever know anybody like that just stayed with their profession?
I want to bring up, you got a guy like Scott Boros. He represents all kinds of athletes.
Guys, yep.
And he gets just tons of money for everybody. How does he do it?
Yeah, but Scott runs a machine. The way his preparation is, his recruiting tactics.
What does an agent get out of a salary now? Let's say they're working for an agency too. What are they? Are they on salary or what?
Well, Scott, I mean, he's not getting paid any percentage anymore. His firm is, and he's running the firm for it. But interestingly, I remember hearing it was maybe Derek Jeter or somebody like that was paying 4%, which was a lot, even in hockey. Mm-hmm. And guys were making $25 million at the time or whatever. And the baseball players were very happy to pay that.
Pay 4%?
Yeah. Hockey players, as they made more, they wanted to pay less.
You want to know
they typically want to pay less.
You want to know about guys who can't give it up, though? Some, as you say, some of them just want to do it as long as they can. Look at Dan Johnson.
Back as a knuckleballer.
Boy, plays in the big leagues till he's 36, on and off, more time in AAA than the big leagues. Now he's 36. I talked to him in February. He was looking for a job. Next thing I read, 2 weeks later, he's going to Tampa Bay's camp to see if he can be a knuckleballer.
And now he's
pitching with the Saints. The other day, he pitched 7 scoreless innings with his knuckleball, and the next day, DH'd and hit 2 home runs in independent league balls.
Right.
36, got 4 kids, greatest wife ever, just still going.
Yeah, Blaine High School. That's a great story.
For the love of the game, we call that one.
Do most players, do you think, have a real tough time getting out of the game? Or do most players transition nicely in your mind?
I think that the money that players are making today is making it easier. But it's still incredibly difficult.
Right?
And fewer players transition out smoother than not so much. Still, it's hard to give up with something that's been a part of you all your life, and I mean going back to most of the people 5 years old.
And you know exactly what you need to do at that sport to be successful.
Right.
Now you wake up, even if you get the money, you don't know what to do.
It's the lack of structure that really gets a lot of guys, and self-worth. It's very difficult to be somebody every day, and even if you don't have that type of personality, when it's gone, you recognize it.
Most of those players blow their money. You take a guy
Not anymore.
Like,
Not as much anymore, I don't think.
You don't?
Do you think? They take. There's some of them do, but a lot of them don't.
Yeah, I think it's like everything else. I think there's more education, and players are doing a better job.
Do the agents invest their money?
Not typically the agents, but they may have somebody in their firm or recommend somebody. So.
How about Nathan, 41, still trying to back with the setup man for He's going to be in the World Series. He's going to be in the World Series with the Cubbies.
Take a break, come back.
Change, Frank. Same time next week.
When it drives and looks like new, you'll want to treat it like new. Certified pre-owned by BMW.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
You're watching CW-23.
Welcome back to the sports show. The Golden Gophers start their football season and whatnot. A lot of stuff going on over there right now. The new facility being built. I mentioned earlier, Chris Worley's out there as communications director, it looks like. What do you see, Sid?
Well, all the extras are picking them to finish last.
But they aren't. Today on your radio show, you picked them to win the West.
I think they got a chance to win the West.
Yep.
I think they're a lot better than people think. I think they got maybe the best quarterback in the Big Ten. They got some pretty good receivers. They went out and got some good junior college offensive linemen. I think if their offensive line plays as well as the coaches think it will, they'll be pretty good.
Sid, you're like Zimmer talking to the Vikings. Nobody picked them last. Everybody's picked them fifth. Nobody's picked them last. It's a 7-team division. So a lot of people picked them fifth, but not last.
What do you think, Patrick?
I think they should be pretty good. You know, the Clays has turned them into a respectable defensive team the last couple of years. So if you just get a little offense, they're like the Vikings. If you just get a little offense, you'll be fine, right?
Brian Lawton put on the management hat from the standpoint, it's not the GM, but you're the athletic director. You got a lot of moving parts over there. You've got a new football coach. Your basketball coach has been a downward trend. Don Lucia and the Gopher hockey, certainly attendance at least has decreased. Where do you start to chomp at this thing?
Well, this is one that I got to tell you, I'm constantly perplexed with what goes on over there personally. Mike, I don't
think you're alone.
I don't know if we're going left, right, up or down or what. It's such a great university. You hope for the best for it, and you hope it starts to get on a more consistent, constant upward path.
If you want to know, though, about athletics and what they mean in modern America, the other day I was walking past Cook Hall, and that handled everything, right? That when Sid started covering the Gophers, that was everybody's
That was
office.
the complex, right?
That was the complex. Now you're spending $170 million and you're average. You're going to be average.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Man
I
alive.
never thought I'd see today where Gopher hockey would discount tickets the way they're discounting.
Is college hockey seen as a real place to get to the NHL? Where is that seen amongst the young prospects?
Very strong. There's such a strong history. Just look at the leading scorers now, and guys like even Johnny Gaudreau, you know, they've utilized college hockey to become stars in the National Hockey League. It's very well thought of. It's a great path. And it's not just the athletes that love college. Teams love when players go to college, too. It gives them a longer time horizon to develop the
Watch
players.
it for free?
Sid, one reason they're discounting tickets for basketball and hockey is they had the highest priced tickets in the country for about 8 years and were gouging the hell out of everybody.
Yeah, how can you?
Now they're getting back to normal prices.
Hockey's got problems, though, Mike. The conferences have discombobulated everything. I know it's great for TV. It's not great for fans. And talk about
Notre Dame's not going to save that.
No.
It'll help.
No.
But Patrick makes an interesting point there, and that's this. You always said, well, the Gophers are in this pro town. It's hard to compete in a pro town. The flip side of that is you can charge more, and people don't have sticker shock in a pro town because they're used to paying big prices.
True.
Here's your problem. You got so many sports in this town right now that some of the sports are going to get hurt.
Yeah, like everybody but the Vikings. I think it's going to get hurt.
Everybody but the Vikings.
Yeah. Take a break, come back. Stay with us on Sports Show.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins! Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to ticketkingonline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
Take every step without hesitation. Anticipate your next move with certainty. because our trusted advisors help you prepare for challenges specific to your business. Our focus is always on you, so your focus is always forward. Experience the power of being understood. RSM, Audit, Tax, and Consulting for the Middle Market.
You're watching CW-23.
Unless you're on their website.
Welcome back to the Sports Show. Minnesota Wild. Sid, give us your appraisal here as to what's happened in the Minnesota Wild free agency.
They got a new coach. The coach has been successful. If they stay healthy, last year they lost Parisi, they lost Sutter, they lost a lot of guys. I think they'll be pretty good. That's my opinion.
Okay. Boy, he's changed his opinion. What, are you a Dumba guy? They signed him for 2 years. Right. He had a lousy year, but he was 21 years old, too. So.
Right. The Wild have an interesting dilemma because now that we have this expansion draft,
everybody's taking this into consideration.
You can only protect 4D, and the Wild pretty much have 5 solid D right now. They have 5 guys that are proven, Dumba being one of them. So we'll see how that plays out. But for the Wild, I think it's all about consistency, Mike. They felt like they've lacked it in the past. They've been too up and down. Now they bring in, who I was told by their management over there, the most consistent coach in the National Hockey League, in Bruce Boudreau, and they're hoping for big things.
I got to ask you, who is there going to be a 32nd team in the next 3 years, or did they price everybody out of the market with $500 million for expansion fee?
My guess would be that there will be one more team within the next 2 or 3 years. Seattle or Quebec would be the leading candidates for sure.
They didn't make a big splash of free agency, though. They didn't get anybody big. So as I look at the roster, I say, okay, how do they get that much better in the West?
I think they're looking for a lot of it to come through the consistency of their coaching staff.
That's
really
a lot to put on them.
And internal growth. They still have a lot of younger players that have more to give. They have a very shrinking window to be Stanley Cup competitors.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
When you think about Parisi and Suter, it's pretty much the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. They've got to make hay or change gears.
Sid Hartman has his hand raised.
As long as the Blackhawks are in the league and they have the great management they have, general manager and coach, the Wild aren't going to go that far.
Okay, Patrick?
I think it's hockey, and if you make the playoffs, you can win the Stanley Cup. Because when you play to 3, anybody can win. That's my theory.
We were talking about the beauty league that you're coaching in out in Edina with the current players that come back. How has that gone?
Fantastic. The players have loved it, and I was a little bit shocked. Ben Hankinson started this along with Terry Moore, Tony Michael, and some other gentlemen. They've done a fantastic job. It's a fun evening for kids to come out, but the players love to come out and perform. They really do. I've been shocked by how well it's gone.
Why don't they take the summer off and go to the lake? What the hell?
It's 2 nights a week, Tuesday and Thursday. They do. They're up at the cabins. It's designed around that.
Okay.
Sid, as we close out this program, let's go to Sid on Sid.
It's a Viking town, and as long as the Vikings are in town, the other clubs are going to suffer at the gate.
And it looks like they're going to be in town for a while.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and soccer game on Wednesday night, you're still up in the air as to whether or not you're going.
Pardon me?
You're still up in the air as to whether you're going Wednesday night.
Isn't Goodell's coming to town? You going to be there?
Tuesday.
You going to be there to see Goodell? Tuesday? You going to be there?
Okay, we'll explain to you during the break.
All right.
See you back here next week, everybody.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandSteve'sAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.